strengths in the relationship between Britain and India. Some of them have already been touched on, and I'm not going to rehearse them. But we also need to be aware of the challenges. The High Commissioner referred to the fact that although trade has been growing rapidly, it's not been growing rapidly enough. We know that although there are many, many British companies investing in India, indeed the UK, of course, is one of the top investors in India, there are many others who have put India in the too difficult, too risky, too corrupt box and gone to other opportunities elsewhere in the global economy. And I think if we look at the new Prime Minister's geopolitical priorities, then that poses a very interesting question to us here, because it's very clear already that Prime Minister Modi is focused on his immediate region, that brilliant issuing of the invitation to the SARC members to attend his inauguration. He's focused on the wider Asia-Pacific region. Look at his likely travel schedule, as far as I can see, for the next 6 months. Japan, China, the United States, and for the G20, of course, Australia. Nowhere in that is the United Kingdom or anywhere else in the European Union. So a challenge to us, I think, there in the UK to show that we are absolutely up for a deeper, broader partnership with India and its new government.
Coming from such a low base, there's plenty of low-hanging fruit for Mr. Modi to pick. And he has the mandate to do that, with the BJP taking, of course, over half of the seats in Parliament in the election. Getting some of the delayed infrastructure projects off the ground, which are estimated to be worth somewhere in the region of $100 billion is what I've seen, could help reverse the decades-long stagnation in the manufacturing sector. Improving efficiency within the Indian government will be a top priority, reducing the number of ministries and addressing bureaucracy and corruption. And Mr. Modi's market-friendly approach, as seen in his governance of Gujarat for more than a decade, means that he's the prime candidate to do this. The Economist describes him as behaving more like a chief executive than a politician. Cutting politically sensitive subsidies on food and particularly energy, which the previous government already started, could allow spending to be more appropriately redirected. Last year's spending on subsidies accounted for somewhere in the region of 15 to 20% of total government spending. Easing labour laws, enforcing legal contracts, widening the tax base and reducing the deficit to a more sustainable 3% in a couple of years' time. Fiscal tightening versus pro-growth measures, of course, could be a very tricky balancing act for the new Modi government to address. Liberalising the capital account to increase the inflows of FDI, moving to an inflation targeting regime, as the Reserve Bank's well-respected governor, Rajan, has suggested. We need to see action on as many of these policies as possible in next month's budget, but there's not much time between then and now, so maybe we shouldn't expect too much, particularly with Mr. Modi's opponents still very much in control in the upper house, which of course has the power of veto.
So the first opportunity, the first bucket in my mind, is export services from the UK. This government in India is electorally bound to create about 100 million jobs over the next 10 years. This is an opportunity for either direct intervention by UK companies, but if that's not possible because of the cost issues, then it becomes a huge opportunity for training and skilling. Because if you look at this employment generation, it can really be broken down into 3 buckets, all of which have UK has a natural advantage. And I'll sort of take examples to point that out. The first one is what I call is the bucket of services within banking, accounting, legal, and tax. The 4 areas which are just natural advantages of the UK. The second, what we can break down as specialized services, and the third being R&D. Take the case of the first one, banking. India employs 1 million people in the banking sector. India in the last 30 years has added no employment to the banking sector, because an Indian banking productivity has by and large remained okay because of technological enhancements, computers, etc. For the asset growth that we need to do in India, the basic lending growth, we need to add over the next 10 years 1 million people. These people will need to be trained in various aspects of banking. There from it will flow further opportunities in the insurance sector, pension funds, accounting, legal, etc. Natural advantage for the UK to play into. Take the other bucket, specialized services, precision engineering, construction, somebody mentioned aerospace and defense. 100 new cities, smart cities, 50 new tourist circuits, solution to cleaning up the Ganges, as somebody said. Even if 50% of them take off, these are multi-billion-dollar investments requiring both skill and what I call as productivity enhancement. Small UK companies, companies that have proprietary technology, proprietary skills can play a huge, for them this is a huge commercialization of their skill base, provided they keep the focus and they know which areas to play into. Third, R&D. At $602 per capita against the $29 per capita that India spends, UK is years ahead of India. UK needs to commercialize this UK R&D so that UK can pay for this R&D itself. India can be the best test case for UK to take out and roll out these incubations, these labs, these rollouts. This would be the best ROE that UK can get on its R&D spend.
The areas of opportunities to strengthen the cooperation with African leaders, especially Uganda, where President Museveni has the highest regard for Asians, are in agro-processing, infrastructure, IT, science and technology, tourism, alternate energy, and nuclear energy, as we have huge, vast mineral deposits in Africa and in East Africa in particular. Let me just say a few words to give you an example, 2 or 3 examples about agricultural processing and pharmaceuticals as opportunities and the potential for investments that they present. The global demand for coffee is 149.1 million bags at a US dollar value of $13.6 billion unprocessed and $32 billion processed. The value of tea is $11.4 billion with a total demand of 4 million tons. The value of milk and milk products is $32.8 billion with the total quantities of 730 million tons. These are the values of unfinished products. They are examples of the potential and vibrancies of the Ugandan and East African economy, even amidst economic challenges and reforms on the local, regional, and international scenes. This provides, for example, in India, mother dairy to expand into Africa and into Uganda. If I may, let me give you one more example. GlaxoSmithKline intends to spend £130 million, about $216.4 million, to expand research into sub-Saharan Africa. This presents a perfect opportunity for the British pharmaceutical companies to link with Indian pharmaceuticals to expand with GlaxoSmithKline into Africa. Prime Minister Modi has an opportunity now. I am tempted to say an imperative, to unleash India's economic dynamism in Africa and thereby create a win-win for all. Creating the opportunity not only for everyone to make money, but also to erase poverty and enhance development.